Hi and welcome to No Second Season, and thank you for joining me today. The title of this video may seem alarmist or it may seem like clickbait. It's not meant to be at all. I actually believe it's absolutely true. Now, nothing particularly prompted this video, but I've wanted to do it for some time now because a lot of the content creators I watch are advising you to get a personal locator beacon. This is absolutely great advice. Now, my adventuring isn't particularly dangerous. I do hiking and bikepacking and surfing, but nothing totally out there in the wilderness. There's a very sad tale in the news at the moment. Jake and Callum Robinson, they'd flown from Australia to Baja, Mexico, met up with their friend Jack Carter Road, and they went on a 4x4 camping / surfing trip on the Baja Peninsula, and they've disappeared. We don't know what's happened to them as yet, but 3 bodies have been found in a well in that area they were last seen. Their ute has been found burnt out, as is their campsite. So we can only assume the worst has happened. My thoughts are with the families and loved ones of these men, and also with the men themselves. How awful to go on a trip of a lifetime and for that to happen. If these guys had been carrying a PLB, it probably would have been no use to them whatsoever. And that's something everyone who goes out adventuring should bear in mind. If you're visiting a country that is known to have conflicts, known to have drug running and drug cartel activity, known to have terrorist activity, you need to think very hard before you go. A PLB isn't going to guarantee you will come back. There's a lot to think about when going off on a little adventure. Even on my overnighter bikepacking rides in the local area, I'm nervous before I go. Before I go surfing, I'm nervous. Before I go camping, I'm nervous. Before I go mountain biking, I am nervous because I don't know, A, if I'm coming home in one piece, and B, if I'm coming home at all. Now, the PLB that I have, the Garmin InReach Explorer, has many functions. You can email, you can text, you can get the weather, people can track you. It's got a compass, you can navigate by it. It does all sorts of things, but there is a subscription. There's a wide range of PLBs. If you haven't got one already, take a look, see what suits your budget and get one. Even the most basic PLB is better than nothing and could save your life. I do have a concern that we are venturing out doing more dangerous things because we have this little comfort blanket that is a PLB. And we need to be absolutely clear before we go anywhere, before we do anything, that this PLB does not guarantee you will return home. There are 3 main problems I can see with PLBs. So number 1 is that the PLBs need a clear line of sight to the sky. This may not always be possible. What if you've fallen down a canyon or embankment and you've fallen into dense bush and you can't see the sky? I don't know if the GoPro's working. I just had a big fall off my bike. I think one of the gorilla cages caught in the front wheel and it stopped dead, and I just went over the top and the bike somersaulted. I've really hurt my arm. I smashed my phone. I don't know if this is working, but Jesus, my arm is killing. Oh God, I don't know what I'm going to do. What if you're in a cave, you've been kidnapped and you're being held inside somewhere? What if during a hijacking or abduction, there just isn't time to turn your beacon on and press the SOS button? The second problem I see is that you could get separated from your PLB. Now, 9 times out of 10 when you see someone with a PLB, just like I do, they're carrying it on their backpack strap, just here on their chest. Now if you had a big accident and fell off your bike, or fell down a canyon, or was in a fight, there is a possibility your backpack, if you don't have all the straps done up properly, could come off. And you do hear of that quite often in real life disappearances, that people become separated from their gear. And definitely I would not stow the PLB on my bike, because the risks of getting separated from it are much higher during an accident on a bike. So we need to think about where we stow our PLBs. I don't have the answer at the moment. I'm going to investigate some sort of sturdy waist or hip holster where I can have it on me separate to my backpack. Now point 3 is that not all countries allow satellite communicators. So you need to do your homework. If you're traveling abroad, you need to check the specific areas and the country. Garmin lists the following countries as satellite communicators not being allowed at present: Afghanistan, Ukraine, Cuba, India, Iran, North Korea, Myanmar, Sudan, Syria, Thailand, Vietnam, China and Russia. There's certainly a big chunk of the planet's landmass in those countries, so do your homework. Now Garmin also lists some countries that don't have an SMS carrier. So if you've got a Garmin InReach, you won't be able to use the SMS function. And those countries are Georgia, Argentina, Mexico, Ghana, Romania and Saudi Arabia. So bear that in mind. So they are 3 reasons why I don't think a PLB is the magic bullet. Yeah, it's great to have. If you get lost or if you get injured, having a PLB is going to save your life, but not in every situation. So don't use your PLB as a get out of jail free card, because it's not always going to work. Now another thing that needs researching is where you're exploring or adventuring, will you have to pay for a helicopter rescue? A lady I watch on YouTube, she pressed her button in the United States on a organised trail, not in the wilderness, and she pressed her button and she got a $60,000 bill for the helicopter ride alone. I don't know about other PLB companies, but Garmin offered 2 insurance policies. One is just under 500 Australian dollars, and that covers high mountain rescue, wingsuits, heli skiing and dangerous sports like that. The other policy is only 65 Australian dollars a year, and that covers all your normal hiking, backpacking, cycling, sports and adventures. Both policies cover 100,000 American dollars in rescue costs, but they do not cover your medical costs. So it's definitely worth having, and I shall make sure I get that. But I also need to investigate medical insurance too, because the lady that got the $60,000 bill also got a $10,000 bill for her hospital care. So having insurance for your medical and rescue costs, I think, is a must, unless you're very rich, of course, because you don't want to be fretting about whether you press that button or not. Now with the Garmin InReach Explorer, and I think the other Garmins, you can pay a yearly fee. I think it's like, I don't know, perhaps 50 Australian dollars, something like that. And you just pay that one off, and that allows you the privilege of buying your subscription by the month. So what I do is dip in and out, perhaps 2 or 3 months of the year. I cover myself with the Garmin. The rest of the year, I don't have to pay anything because I've paid that one-off fee. So that's really handy, and they have different plans. I just go for the cheapest one, which is around 30 Australian dollars a month. So I do the best that I can with the budget I have. So if you were on the fence and you haven't got a PLB, I would say get one that suits your budget, because any PLB is better than no PLB. So when you get your PLB, do some testing with it. With the Garmin, you get 5 tests a month just to make sure you've got a connection to the satellite. That isn't an SOS test. With Garmin, you have to book an SOS button test, and I'm going to do that. So after this little chit chat here, I'll show you some tests I did to make sure I knew where it would and wouldn't work. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and perhaps think about subscribing as well. That would be great. So take a look at the tests I've done. So first of all, I'm going to try a basic Garmin test here in my backyard. So let's see how long the Garmin takes to do a basic communications test. Noting this is not an SOS test. To do the Garmin test, you turn it on, scroll to test, ensure the device has a clear view of the sky to complete the test. So here we go. So test successful, took nearly 8 minutes. I'm under the tree. This would be sort of a typical bush situation. You can see the sky. That test completed in less than 2 minutes. Run over a bit. It was actually around 2 minutes. So I'm actually quite impressed with this. So with it performing so well, I think what I'll do is try it in my house and see if I can get a signal there. If I can, I will be very impressed. Okay, it's been going 20 minutes now. This is in the house, sitting on my desk just here. I've loosely assembled my Marmot fortress tent. I put the InReach inside the tent. I set it off while it was inside the tent. So I'll give it 2 minutes, then I'll check, see what's happened. Opening the tent and checking whether it's completed may affect the results of the test. That's not something I can do anything about. Unbelievably, in my tent, it activated in less than 2 minutes. I'm really surprised and really impressed. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording.